This is Jen Snyder Gibson, and we're coming to you live from the Brand Builder Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina with the Breakfast Club Beat. Welcome to another episode of the Breakfast Club Beat. And today we're here with such a great friend of mine, Scott Harris with Choate Construction. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We just had a great luncheon.
We did.
And that was a lot of fun and very educational.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic today. One of my favorite things about doing this podcast is I get to sit down with so many of my favorite people in Charlotte, and you have got to be absolutely at the top of that list, Scott Harris.
Why wasn't I first?
I think you are, but then, then I've got
on
a list.
On the podcast.
Well, I had to bring our girls in from CMPD first.
Of course.
And then I had to save you until right before retirement.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. But you are definitely at the very top of the list.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah. So this is fun today. So how are you?
Good.
Enjoying
the beautiful weather we've had.
Yeah. So here we're getting to the end of a career at Choate Construction.
We are. And it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. We've got people in place, and we've got a lot of young guys that are very talented, and it'll just continue on.
Yeah. So tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about Choate and your career with Choate.
So I worked for my father's company for years, and then he passed away, and I didn't want to move to Pennsylvania where it was. So Susie and I decided to make our life here. And the way we got here was in 1985. I was with a company and wasn't very happy, and my dad said, "Hey, would you consider working for our company?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "What?" And he told me. I said, "Yeah." And he said, "But I don't want you to live in Pennsylvania. Go to Charlotte. It's an up-and-coming community. It's where you need to make your life." And thank God he did that, because we've been here now 40 years, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful community. But then we sold the company to a French firm, and it was in textiles. It all went overseas. And so I left, and my wife said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm not sure." She said, "You've always loved construction," because I did it in college. And I said, "Yeah." She said, so I went and got my general contractor's license.
Okay.
And was going to start a company. And I knew Dave Priester, who ran Choate, and I met with him. And we were talking, and I'll clean it up for this, but Dave said, "What are you thinking? You don't know what you don't know. Just come work here, and you've got the business, I'll teach you construction." So I said, okay. So I went home that night, and Susie said, "How was Dave?" I said, "Good." And I said, "As a matter of fact, I got a job." She said, "You did?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to work for Choate." She said, "Oh, good. What are you doing?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "When are you starting?" I said, "I don't know that either." She said, "How much you making?" I said, "Don't know that either." And she just looked at me and said, "But it's Priester." And I said, "It's Priester." And he always treated people fairly. I went there, and the first year and a half, I was a project manager to learn the commercial construction the way it is. And then he moved me into a role in the marketing business development. And Dave and I had many, many years of a lot of fun together. And then just have kept that going. And so Choate in 2016 was sold, and Dave Priester and Millard Choate were the two majority owners, and they sold it to the employees. And it is now 100% owned by the employees, and it's been phenomenal for, even the guys that are an hourly guy get this huge amount of profit sharing each year towards their retirement, and they'd never be able to save that money.
Yeah.
So it's really fantastic for the employees.
How many employees does Choate have?
551.
551.
We have 7
That's
offices. Awesome. It started in Atlanta, and then grew from there. So we have Atlanta, Charlotte, Savannah, Charleston, Raleigh, Nashville. We opened about 4 years ago.
Yes, and I do see quite a few cranes and signs of
Good
Choate
signs.
everywhere.
That's
yes,
right. And then in January of this year, we launched Tampa.
Oh, great. Another great area.
It is. And it's interesting. The way we've grown is we don't pick an area and open an office. We follow our clients. And a lot of our clients were going down to Tampa, and we said, we'll open an office for you. And so that's what we did.
Oh, that's fantastic. I went to college in Tampa.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to USF.
Oh, it's a beautiful.
It is. It's a great area. I love it down there.
We had a lot of people that said, I'll go down to Tampa.
Yeah, they're like, I'm going on that move.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's been good. And it's an interesting company. It's all about the relationship. Everything we do. Miller Choate, his tagline was reputation is everything. And he just drove that home. It's all about the reputation.
Yeah, that's right.
And we work hard to make sure that we always keep that first and foremost.
So how many years are you now at Choate?
18.
18.
Yeah, and December 31st will be the end. Not the end of, I'll still be doing something, but just the end of Choate.
You know, I've dreaded this for like 2 years. I knew it was coming.
It's time.
We'd have conversations about it. I was like, I know this is right around the corner.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
Well, COVID was a tough time in your industry.
Yeah, well, it was tough for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tough for everybody. But in our industry, it's difficult. But, you know, everyone went home, and it was decided that we were essential. Mm-hmm. Building had to continue. And what was surprising, I could see if they would say, hospitals and things like that needed to continue, but they just said construction was essential. So we were able to go back to work. We brought everyone back to the office in 5 weeks, never had an issue. We put protocols in place, and everyone really liked being back together. You know, you have to build your culture.
Yes.
And you lose that. I mean, I know young guys that have graduated college and they didn't meet their boss for 2 years because they worked from home.
Isn't that just
crazy.
so crazy?
It's crazy. Well, think about the kids in kindergarten during COVID learning from a computer. I mean, but we were considered essential, and we kept building. And I mentioned to you earlier, it was funny because everyone's building, and then we go out to a job site and see the food truck show up, and all the guys are huddled around the food truck, and we got to put some protocol in place there and make sure people are separating. But it was a learning curve for everyone. No one knew this was all new.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we got through it. I think the biggest impact for everybody was this work from home. People kind of got spoiled. They didn't want to go back to an office. They like not commuting. They like to go in, working on their computer in their pajamas. And but finally we see the tides are turning pretty strong towards let's get people back in the office. Charlotte, during that time we had escalation of materials because you couldn't get them. We had labor rates going up. Everything was like the perfect storm. Now it's settling down. Materials are readily available. The costs are not escalating, let's say that. And we're able to build. Interest rates, tomorrow will be a big day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the rest of the year that we start to see some decreases, I think that'll get some people off the sidelines. But the one thing we're seeing, which was surprising, was back to office. For so long, there was no office. And now the architects, I just talked to 5 yesterday, and they're saying, surprisingly, we have more office work than we've had in a long, long time.
That's great.
Yeah, and we're starting to see that. And so people are saying, let's come back to work.
So tell me, in all of these major cities that you're in, obviously you can go to any of those places and you're going to see a lot of cranes. There's a lot of work being done. How do you guys get to the table to bid on some of these big projects?
A lot of it is because of our reputation. We've built such a great reputation that we're included a lot of the time. They want us as part of it. Majority of our work is negotiated. It's not a bid type situation. There's design build where the contractor has the architect under their contract. And then there's design assist where the architect and builder are not on the same contract, but they're working together. And that's really the best way to deliver a product, because you have the owners, you have the architect, you have everyone around a table, and you're designing it, you're making sure it stays in budget, and the owner gets exactly what he wants, and you really don't have the change orders or anything.
Yeah.
When you do what's called a hard bid, you're forcing the people bidding it to bid the drawings exactly like they are. And so if a wall's missing and you know it needs to be there, it's going to be a change order, because you've got to figure out how to get low. The other challenge with a hard bid is you're forcing the general contractor to take numbers from subcontractors that probably are not really qualified to do the work. So by negotiating, we'll still bid the work, but to qualified subcontractors. And Charlotte's really fortunate, because most of the work that everyone does here is in the negotiated form of some type.
Sure.
And we've got great competitors. They're friends. We're just such a unique town that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
You know, we're not cutting each other's throat. We're not. I mean, we have great competitors, and there are a few that you're like, but for the vast majority, they're great people.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw a question out to you that I was just thinking about by something that you said. In the 18 years that you have been at Choate, is there one or two projects that you guys have built that's really stuck out as like maybe one of your favorites or the most meaningful projects? I have one in mind that I know you did a few years ago.
An amazing one was Red Ventures.
Okay,
because that campus, that was where the owner put the team together and said, I want the Google of the East Coast. And that was a lot of fun. And that, if you go to that campus, you can see that. Meaningful, though, are the projects that have impact to the community.
Yeah.
You know, we're working on one, it's Three Sisters Market, I think it's called. And on the west part of town, they just don't have grocery stores. And they're going to build this cooperative grocery store to help the people. They'll have a garden where it grows fresh vegetables and everything. So those types of things are impactful, where you can make a change.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite projects that I learned about that you were involved with came from a kind of a random conversation that you were having one day with Daniel Fogarty and with the First Tee, and finding out a need that they had in additional space over in Pineville, and making that happen for them when they didn't have the budget to do what really needed to be done. And the amount of children in our community that have directly impacted because of what you did is phenomenal.
You know, what we did was such a minuscule part. I mean, Daniel and his group, they do such a great job with kids through golf.
Yes.
But they're teaching these kids life's lessons.
Yes.
They're teaching them how to be good citizens, the proper way to shake somebody's hand.
Yes.
You know, how to talk to people. So what they needed, Daniel and I, we become friends, and he said, hey, can you come look at something? And of course we would do that for him. I mean, he impacts so many kids. And it was easy. You know, we reach out to some of our subcontractors. Hey, you want to look at this? Oh, yeah, we'll help you. We'd love to help you.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
You know, and we've also got great subcontractors in Charlotte. I mean, we're really a giving community.
Yes. Oh, for sure. You know, Scott, I've known you for a really long time.
Yep.
And my favorite thing about you is your heart. And you're constantly wanting to give back. But you personally throw yourself into these projects. It's not just I'm going to write a check. Like, you're in it, and you're in it all the way. And you're figuring out, how do I use my circle of connections to make this even a bigger project or a bigger impact in Charlotte. And I would love for you to share some of the ways that your heart has really been involved in some key things the last decade.
Well, I think, Jen, the one thing, I have a saying on my bulletin board, preach the gospel every day and use words only when necessary. And if you think about that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's very important that anyone can write a check. But
Yes.
if you're going to do something, throw yourself in it. And I probably learned it from mostly my dad and my wife. My dad served on some boards, and he always said, I'm not going to be on a board where I'm just taking up a seat. I'm going to be active. My wife, Susie, when we moved here, she got involved with the Junior Women's Club of Charlotte. And you talk about throwing yourself into something. She did. One of their missions was taking economically disadvantaged kids to get shoes. Mm-hmm. And she would come home and tell me, this little girl came in, they had cut out the back of her shoes because she had outgrown them. Oh. And those types of things. They'd give them shoes and socks and stuff. And Susie has made so much more of an impact on this community than I ever will. And so, you learn from people you admire and see. And so she has done that a long time. And then when I got with Choate, I wasn't traveling anymore, which was nice. So I could get involved with the community. And Dave Priester allowed me to do that, which was very fortunate because he said, no, this is your job. But he saw the benefit both to the community and to Choate that we're giving back. And I'm not going to be on a board just to say, I'm on this board. If I'm going to be on it, it's because I have passion about it, and we're going to try to make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do.
Absolutely.
We're not going to check the box.
So share your involvement with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Foundation.
That's a passion.
Yes.
That's a passion because these men and women, you and I go to work every day. We know what our day is going to be. I mean, worst case, we something surprises us, but it's nothing. These men and women are out there, and they don't know from second to second if someone's going to shoot at them or what they're going to be involved in. And the respect I have, and then Charlotte's police are some of the best in the country.
Yes.
I mean, they're revered.
Absolutely.
And I've traveled to other departments in the country, and we're really looked up upon favorably. But I went to the luncheon many years ago. It was small back then. And I sat there. I actually went with Ken Bewley of Keith Corp.
Yeah.
And I sat there, and I was really taken aback by this, when they present the colors and everything. You're like, wow. And about 3 or 4 months later, Ken called me and said, you want to have lunch? And we did. And he said, you're pretty passionate. You like the lunch? I said, yeah. He said, would you ever consider joining the board? I said, oh, Ken, that would be an honor. He said, we've got to meet with board members, and they're going to kind of check you out and everything. And then you got to pass a background check. And I thought, uh-oh.
This is it.
I'm not going there.
It might not happen now.
But I passed and got on the board. And it's interesting because I don't remember who it was, but the first couple board meetings, I didn't say anything. Just listen and learn the players. And then I started getting vocal about, things we were doing. Will Whitley was the chair at that. Will Whitley was the chair of my second run. And you could see the passion he had.
Yeah.
Just everyone had passion towards these officers and what we could do to make their life better. And then they asked if I would serve in a couple different roles, and I did. And eventually was chair for 3 years. And that was an honor among honors. I mean,
and you were so good at it.
Well, thank you. It was such an honor to do that. I mean, I keep Chick-fil-A gift cards in my pocket because if I'm out and I see an officer, I hand it to him and just say, hey, thank you for all you do for us.
Well, when you started that, I thought that was the most creative project, and you gave me some of those, and I pass them out when I'm flying. I'll pass them to the officers that I see working in the airport, and it's just such a great moment. They're so happy, and it's so unexpected.
It's a little thing,
yes.
but just says thank you, and we acknowledge what you do.
Yes.
And then we only did it once, and maybe we'll do it again. I gave it to all the board members. I gave them each, I think, 10, and said, when you're out in the community. And so they did that, and I was very pleased. And then the next year I went to the board and I said, all right, I really have a request. I want to buy 1,800 $10 gift cards, and at the luncheon, put one at every person's plate with the understanding that they are to take that gift card and go out in the community. Can't give it today, but in the next couple of weeks, and find an officer. Because I thought 1,800 people out there would be really cool.
Absolutely.
And we did it. And even like my daughter had some, and she gave them to her kids to give. And that's really impactful when a little guy comes up to an officer. You're making such a connection. Plus, for the little kid to not be afraid of the officer, but that connection. So it was huge. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And so you're taking 1,800 people and going out in the community and thanking 1,800 times.
Yeah, I know. That's wonderful. So you're getting ready to take a step back from Choate here very, very soon.
Yep.
Tell me, I know you well enough. Charlotte is going to have you still extremely engaged. I know we're fortunate you're going to be very involved in our Breakfast Club family. What are some of the things that you want to stay involved with in Charlotte?
We'll always, that's first and such important. The other thing, I was brought on the Safe Alliance board, which is for domestic violence. The Police Foundation a number of years ago made a contribution towards it's a family justice center.
Yes.
We call it the Umbrella Center. Now, when we made the contribution, Kurt Putney was the chief before Johnny Jennings. And I remember, I think every meeting we had with Kerr, he said, we need a family justice center. It's so important. And so the board really, really thought about this. And we made the donation. And there was a little controversy, but our thrust for the board is keeping our officers safe. And one of the most dangerous calls an officer can go on is a domestic violence call. This Umbrella Center brings all the different entities that deal with domestic violence under one roof. So now somebody that's dealing with domestic violence, right now as it is today, can go from anywhere from 7 to 23 agencies to try to find all the help. Well, a lot of these people can't get away from work. They may, whatever it is, and so it doesn't work. There are 130 of these in the country, and I can't believe Charlotte doesn't have one. But like Greensboro has 2. They're small, but they have them. The first year Greensboro had theirs in operation, domestic violence homicides went down by 77%. Huge impact.
77.
Huge impact. I was out in Sacramento meeting with their folks, and they were telling me their statistics, and it's just a huge impact. So we made this contribution, and then Safe Alliance asked if I'd join the board, and I did because I was honored to do that. But they're building the Umbrella Center, and it's going to be the biggest in the country, the most state-of-the-art, atrium. Spencer Merriweather, our DA, all the entities, Pat's Place, have agreed to go in there.
Yeah.
And so now when let's face it, a lot of it's women who are being abused and kids. When they go to get help, they go to one place, they get videoed, and they get all the services they need.
Yeah,
the police will be in there,
everything.
Game changing. And it's gonna do 2 things. It's gonna help the people dealing with domestic violence, but it's also going to keep our officers safer.
Yes.
Because it'll lower, hopefully, and it should lower domestic violence and repeat domestic.
I know this is such a important piece of the fabric of Charlotte moving forward. And they're very, very fortunate to have you involved.
Well, when you sit around and you see these people and the passion they have, and the people who work at Safe Alliance, they could go, like the officers, they could go anywhere and make more money, but they're there because they want to make a difference. And the one thing, Jen, I learned when I got on the Police Foundation, we all look at officers and think, oh, power trip or something. A police officer is there because he's called to be there. And if he's not called to be there, he's gone in 3 years. And you look at these people and they are there because they truly want to serve.
Sure.
And I remember going to my first promotion ceremony out at the training academy. And I was sitting there, and I actually filled up with tears because you see their families as they're getting their new badge and stuff. And you realize when we see them out in the street, we see them in a uniform. We think them as an official person. They're just people. Mm-hmm. And you see them with their families, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're just like us.
Yeah.
And so it's really special.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, you're really special.
Oh.
No, I mean that. And I know you've got some grandkids that are really, really excited that Grandpa's going to be home more.
Yep.
And I think you've got a little granddaughter that loves to paint your nails and do little parties with you.
I'll do anything. Yeah. Doesn't matter. We're fortunate. Both our kids are here.
Yeah.
Our daughter and son-in-law live in our neighborhood with their 3. And then our son and daughter-in-law live 10 minutes away.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Our daughter has 3. Our son and daughter-in-law have 1, but they'll probably have another one. Hopefully,
soon.
We're encouraging.
Yeah, you're encouraging.
We take Elsie in whenever we can, so they have time. But you know, the grandkids, there's just nothing like it. It's right now. Ford's the 10-year-old. We're building a go-kart.
Oh, fun!
Yeah. Now, when I was a kid, we built push carts. Oh no, this has got to have a motor. So we're working
that's
on
pretty
that
high
one.
tech.
Trust me, if it goes, we'll be lucky.
That's so fun.
But it's fun. And then it's funny because Ford's Sunday, he called me and he said, "Hey, Grampy, what are you doing?" I said, "Nothing, Ford. Why?" He said, he said, "Are you available?" I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "Can I come over?" I said, "Sure." He just wanted to come over to hang out.
Oh,
and it was
isn't
wonderful.
That the best?
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
Are you available? I love that.
And I was, an interesting story. My wife is Mia. And Bobby, our son-in-law, called his grandmother Mia. And Susie said, "Bobby, where did that come from?" And he said, "Well, I was the oldest, so I named my grandmother. And every time I saw her, she would say, 'Come give me a kiss, come give me a hug.' I thought her name was Mia." Susie said, "I want to be Mia." So Susie became Mia, and we had to figure out something for me. We didn't want them to call me what they heard because they're not allowed to say those words. So we said Grampy. That was good for a few years, and then the middle guy came in one day, walked in the house, looks at me and goes, "Hey, chubby man." And guess what stuck?
And that stuck.
But it was just so funny. But I'm Gramps most of the time. But the kids we have them as often as we can because it's
wonderful.
Fun. Yeah,
That's
it's
wonderful.
a good time.
Well, thank you for coming on today, and thank you for.
The only thing I'm going to say,
okay,
since you'll have a lot of people listening, is don't just sit in Charlotte and complain or not. Take some time to help.
Yes. Yeah.
Help somebody. You know? I mean,
that's what I love about our Breakfast Club members. I feel like they've got their foot on the gas 24/7 to create ways to help.
As you know, I've snuck around you a few times and asked them for help. It's immediate. They just, what do you need?
Yeah.
We're happy to help. I mean, it's just.
They're next
but that's
level.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
That's Charlotte. Charlotte's a really philanthropic community.
It is.
We're very fortunate.
Well, thank you. This was fun today.
Thank you. Janet, it was fun. And I just want to say one more thing. Unsolicited, join the Breakfast Club. It's a unique organization, and you get so much more out than you give. Join today.
Oh, thank you. Well,
you bet.
And I love that we have our Hood Hargett retirement level now, so you get to stay with me forever. We're like together
I just
forever.
keep telling you, remember, we're unemployed at that point.
I know.
No income.
Thank you, everyone. And if you get a chance, go and watch us on our YouTube channel or listen to us on any of your streaming platforms. Thanks.